they're innocent. I mean, you can't take somebody in their teens these days. Lord, it's hard to find a 10-year-old innocent anymore. About 8 and 10-year-olds having sex now. So that's what I mean. It's going to be harder for them to contain themselves because they're running out of innocence. The world has become so wicked that it's even hard to find innocence in children anymore. I mean, that should be pretty obvious to the normal human being that there's not much innocence left in this world.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
mean,
agree with you there.
Every TV evangelist, it's all just corrupt and wicked. I'm sorry I sound so perplexed on some of this, but it just boils down to wickedness. God isn't judging us because we're so good or this and that. He's judging us because man will eventually destroy himself if he doesn't.
There's no way we can convince your average reptilian to come over to the good side.
No, because they're not. You can't. Even if they want to be on the good side, but they can't. They're already deemed and doomed to hell. They know it. So, if you're losing the battle, you're going to make it one last shot, aren't you? You're going to give it all you got. A good example of that was Hitler. He tried to mock Christ with the 1,000-year Reich instead of 1,000-year millennium, and he said God was dead. He pretty much tried to do what the reptilians are doing. He tried to create an Aryan race, and a breed of perfect people. And that goes back to what I said about Satan trying to breed something perfect. I mean, just think about it. If you were Satan, you could take a human and make it perfect, then you have achieved what God did, didn't you? So he'd have to forgive you, wouldn't he? But it ain't going to happen. But he believes it's going to happen, and he hasn't got nothing to lose. He's going to hell anyway. So why not give it your last? But in the end, Hitler was an example of what was coming, because Hitler, what did he do? He bombed his own country. When he was going down, he said, I'm going down and taking everybody with me. And that's what he did. And who did we get to invent our weapons but his criminals?
Many have speculated that there are underground anti-grav trains that connect bases. Have you ever seen that or been on one?
Any what now?
An underground railway of sorts that connect these underground bases?
That's another story I can get into. I've got a picture. I got to find it. On a disc of the Bilderbergs shaking hands with President Bush with a map of a railroad going from Chicago and from somewhere in Ohio with no other rail going straight down south into South America. Now, that reminded me a lot of what Hitler did, and it also reminded me of what it says in the Bibles, and they came in from the south, and they crept in like caterpillars. Well, a train from up in the air would look like caterpillars, wouldn't it? If you were trying to describe it and you were in the biblical days, caterpillars look like caterpillars. You know how they run and you see caterpillars, how they'll be in a line. But I've got a picture of that, and I've got a lot of things that you'd probably like to see.
So you
had, in case the CIA is tapping this, it won't do them no good to come and confiscate my computer, because if you do, I've got a lot of other people that you don't know of that have these documents, and will release them in full disclosure to the press, in full disclosure, your true colors. So I suggest you just leave me alone.
So if
you make me sick, I'm going to do the same thing.
So you have the information out there in multiple areas, so sort of like
hundreds.
Good. That's good. That sort of like the internet. That was what it was designed for, to transmit information in case we were under attack, so you could go around those damaged areas. So
Well, if they come after me, I will just send my entire hard drive to you.
Wait a minute, man. That's like tossing a nuke over here. You know, I'll have to toss it to somebody else. Here, you take it.
Yeah, I believe you'd want it.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, man's got to do what man's got to do. You know.
You're a pro in this, and I'm not saying that I would. I'm just. I've already given it to enough people that are in high places that would fully disclose it even unto the death. Wouldn't worry. You wouldn't think twice about getting killed over it. Would kiss the rope that they were getting hung by.
We have this question talks about the war, and the Bible talks about a war in heaven. Is that when it talks about a war and there was a war in heaven? I remember reading that somewhere myself.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier.
Okay,
Michael fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against Michael, and there was war in heaven.
Mm-hmm. So
there was no room found for the dragon, no more at all.
So were there spaceships involved with that fight?
No. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I can tell you that the Bible doesn't say nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, I mean, you can take or leave what I say, but I go strictly. If it doesn't line up with the Bible, then it's speculation.
Yeah. This question on the live chat, what was your highest level of security clearance?
Crypto top secret.
Well, I don't know what that is, but it sure sounds high to me.
It's above the president's. Now, this president, I don't know. But you remember that Carter and Nixon tried to break into the UFO archives and weren't allowed to get them?
I remember something that Carter was involved, something like that.
Yeah, and, well, I was allowed to I had access to anything I wanted.
Is that because you proved your trustworthiness when you were guarding the kids getting...
Yeah, and the clearance that I had didn't have need to know on it. I didn't have to have a need to know. I just had to have a want to know.
So how was it that you got that clearance? Was it a badge, an implant? They just recognized you, or what?
No, it was just trust.
And so you could walk in and out of super secret areas and look at anything you wanted?
Yes, I could.
And you saw the files that the president tried to get?
Yeah, I've seen President Kennedy files, but I will not elaborate on that. Not yet.
It didn't seem like it didn't seem like they really would want you even out here telling what you know.
Yeah, well, there's 100 other people that have that will release this simultaneously without hesitation if they try it.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes you've got to wonder if some people that die in Christ, if they haven't got the better end of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'd like to be counted worthy to be here to fight the final battle against good and evil. And people shouldn't look at it as an event that's going to make you depressed. You should be happy because it's the final blow against evil, and we'll never have to deal with it again. Imagine a world with no evil. Come on. And the prophets longed to be in this day, and here we are in it, and we don't want to hear it. That's kind of ridiculous.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know how they would ever perceive the things that you said tonight on the program is beyond even things. It's gone way past anything I've ever heard on this program. From different people, but on the same time, many things that you've said have been said by others, and like the ever growing chorus of people who seen UFOs, have pictures of
you
transcripts. It's growing.
Which you got, and I just gave you it all in one lump sum.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying the chorus of